welcome everyone to the Midnight Social Radio. I am your co-host as ever, Mr. Overlord. With me as always, is Kuro and Dogboy, and we have a new face here. Please introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Bandy. You can call me Bandy or Bandy the Oni or Bandy the Renegade. It is nice to meet all of you guys.
Welcome, Bandy.
Welcome.
Welcome, welcome
Thank you.
to the single. Welcome to easily the most unhinged podcast that you'll ever be in your life.
Well, fortunately for me, I'm pretty unhinged too, so I'll fit in just fine.
Oh boy.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's start things off. Mr. Overlord, do you got things?
I have a few things. Oh yeah, the Love Hina mangaka slander.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that was on my list to talk about.
I'm
oh.
So
not familiar with that.
let me pull up his stuff right quick. But basically he was at Japanese con.
It was at a French con.
It was a
Oh.
French Japanese convention in Paris or in France. And this ultra uber feminist, was passing around flyers about slandering him, trying to get him to get him kicked out of the thing.
I see where this is going.
Yeah, and all her, and even somebody translated her stuff for the English person. She tried to say he's against free speech or something or stuff like that.
Ironic because he's fighting
which
against
is
censorship.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, because he's one of the first mangakas that holds a position in the government office and has been pushing for more freedom of speech, expression of oneself, and so forth.
Nice.
And yeah, calling him like a far right, fascist and whatnot, and it's just like no, you don't even the dude himself's like he went back on like the guy who translated, I should say. He went back through, traced her sources. It's like all your sources are ass.
And one trans cosplayer, because people like to think,
Camp
people
Akamatsu. Yeah, I'm saying, put the dude in here.
And funny enough, a trans cosplayer when the chick was saying boo, she got kicked out.
Good.
Like,
The lady
yeah.
did the one that was handing out the flyers. She got booted out from.
Yeah, or it was actually like a trans cosplayer who was actually co-signing this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Where was this?
Um,
I mean, this was in Japan, right? Or
No, this was in France.
France.
oh, in France. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she was saying stuff like he was trying to suppress the voices of women, or which is not true, and like how he's supportive of CP cheese pizza, which that is clearly not true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, she got fucking booted.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, she actually had she actually was cosplaying as teenager. So if we hold her up to her standards, she was probably making lewd cosplay of underage characters. And judging by her logic, she was making cheese pizza.
Yeah, on her Twitter page, she's actually a cosplayer for Genshin Impact, which has like a huge lolly roster.
Like they have a whole bunch of lollies.
Yeah, that is actually pretty hypocritical. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about like last night, or I think we touched on it, where a lot of these antis, like actual extreme anti-lollies, turned out to be actual advocates of actually pedophiles. Yeah.
Jeez.
Or just terrible people in general.
Yeah, that's fucked. that is pretty messed up.
Like I said, kids, remember my midnight social my listeners. There's a difference between a kid playing in the sand and Connor from Dragon Maid getting DP'd behind the dumpster by knife-wielding hobos.
That or on Epstein's Island. Here we go. I'm unhinged now.
yeah,
Can we
yeah.
get much
It's
lower?
and this goes for everyone, including you, Bendy. So like how you said, like you're not okay with lolly stuff, and that's fine.
I'm not against it necessarily, but it's like some writers maybe take it a little too far. I don't know. I don't know how to really put it into words.
And that's understandable.
Mhm.
And like I usually say, like even though it's like I constantly try to protect the whole, or like I play devil advocates for lolly stuff. I personally am not into it. I'm more of the freedom of speech. Like you have every right as an artist and a creator to write whatever you want to write.
Right.
And it means it's like as long as it's not involved any real life person or persons, or even directly hurt somebody.
Yeah, that's generally where a lot of people who make lolly stuff generally draw the line at. Like you can make lewds of fictional characters, however, real people are out of the option.
Right.
So the thing is, and this is kind of where I have like the kind of like 50-50 on, because I mean, with some of the lolly stuff, there is actually some truth with it as well. So like here, let me throw kind of like an example to the wind here. So some people, for example, maybe their mindsets are not exactly like correspondent to their age, or on another note, because I don't know if. Seeing that we're talking about the lollies and stuff, have you guys heard of this woman that was, for some reason, she wasn't able to be fully developed, so like, her growth was totally stunted, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, she was on MTV, I think, but
Yeah.
they made an entire show that was just like making fun of her and everything, just tearing her to shreds, man. It was fucking awful. I don't know how people shit, but the point that I wanted to get to on that is, some people have that kind of stunted growth, and sometimes those lolly characters are, maybe they're not actually kids, they're actually adults. They're still adults, but they just didn't,
Yeah,
Yeah.
genetics were not on
yeah.
their side. So
And
that's
that
like
comes
the
into
other end.
what lolly actually is. It's that it's more so just a body type, not actually like an actual child. Like when I was talking about the root word of lolly come from Lolita, and Lolita, the character herself in the Russian book, was a full grown woman. She just had the statue of a child, like and I remember like during the Uzaki-chan incident.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that one's an issue. So the funny
Yeah.
thing is with that though, they're college students though. So in the story, they're actually so like you got
Yeah, and I actually went to school or college with a couple of these women that look exactly like her. They were short,
wow.
they looked very childlike, but they had massive budget.
Badonkadonks,
Yeah,
barrels, weapons
Yeah,
of
like
mass
here's the
this is for the
destruction.
pimps out there.
Ballistics.
like here's the thing, like pretty sure these guys nothing. I'm just like I said, I'm playing Mobby.
Yeah, he has
okay.
a multitask.
Yeah, and there are I know there's like the joke. I know it's like y'all probably seen like the whole memes of that one character who's like a 45-year-old woman who's a mother of this one character that's like looks like a little girl, which I have seen like older women that do look like that, and it's wild, and it's like like when you brought that one woman who's stunted in her growth, yes, that is rare, and there are still a good bit of people out there. Like I remember first hearing about from this like what was it, Believe It or Not or something, where there was like this man who's like almost 30, but he looks like a 12-year-old.
Oh
And
yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. It kind of rings a
yeah,
bell. I might have watched that.
yeah, and so and and it's just, and so yeah, you do have that real world, connection there, and plus, like whenever people rag on the excuse like, oh, let me guess, it's like 1,000-year-old vampire that looks like a little kid. I mean, if you are a vampire, you're going to age slowly anyway.
Yeah.
Like remember that the interview with the vampire or something where no, it wasn't before that with Kirsten Dunst when she was first starting off, but she was
Mhm.
literally a vampire.
Huh.
Or-
So I never watched that.
Or in that one, there's two movies too of this, like of the original and the remake, but it's called Let the Right One In, where it's about this, vampire who looks like a little girl, but she's like hundreds of years old, and she would basically, convince other, young boys to watch over her, be like her servants until they get old and they die. Yeah, and
That's an interesting plot.
so the Lolly vampire is not even a new thing. It's been around for quite some time.
Yeah, and
What about that manga, Vampire Blunt?
Fund.
Bun, yeah. Isn't that like I've seen that in my libraries, but I never read it. And isn't that like a lolly vampire, but like over age?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean blood?
No, it's like
No, I'll show you what he's talked about.
Okay, I was about to say because
probably like bun or something like that. I can't remember. I've seen it in my library, and I'm like, oh yeah, here it is. Let's drop you an image.
Funny
Yeah.
enough,
This one.
oh yeah,
More
yeah.
like
I think I watched like a couple of episodes of that.
I can see people getting confused on like that must be a lolly because there's no chest, the height.
Yeah, there's actually
Let me see if I
like
can take a peek at it real fast. You sent it in the chat, right?
Yeah, it's in the general. We don't have
Okay.
everything in there.
lolly chart.
Oh, yeah. No, don't switch. There we go.
Dundee. Oh, I'm playing.
Oh,
Yeah,
so this
there's
guy right here on the top.
Yeah.
So,
And
okay.
I think we did also mention the 42-year-old lolly who has kids.
I mentioned her.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that is definitely a lolly. I'm looking at the Dance of the Vampire.
Yeah, and then here's some of the stuff. There's like this whole chart too that's like list all these different types of lollies. You got the opie lollies. You have like
We also call them short stacks.
the short stacks.
Short
Yes.
stack, yes.
Yeah, those are not lollies. I agree with that. That is, they're not lollies. The one, Lily from Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? That one's more like a lolly than anything, but still, she has a bust.
Yeah, but even then, they're still like, especially with the Japanese audience, they're still considered lollies because of their short stature. So it's not entirely that there's their absence of breast. It's more so like do they retain their youthfulness of it? And it's like
I think Hestia stole that thing from a different goddess. So
yeah, I think she did too. But it was like when I was telling about the definition, like the precociously. Let me pull up the definition again. La Lita definition.
Dude,
Is a term for a young girl as precociously seductive, and precociously meaning in a way that shows peculiar abilities and ways of behaving as at a much younger age than usual, or being matured than how they look.
oh, okay, so it does kind of pertain to kind of like personality or like, character.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was about to get into. I was like wondering if like, they act like a certain way. Like, say you got like, for example,
keep in mind,
throwing one in the wind.
Rebecca's also a lolly.
Yeah, Rebecca is also considered a lolly as well, and she's like in her mid to late 20s.
Yeah, it would be hard to really say that she, like, if we're being honest here. I mean, her behavior, I guess, in a sense, she
Mhm.
could be kind of a lolly, but
Well, she acts more like, not gonna lie, somebody I actually know in real life, and it was just it, but yeah, even Studio Trigger themselves, referred to her as a lolly, and when it came to the company that for that made Cyberpunk, they were like, yeah, we can't have her in there because she's a lolly. And then Trigger was like, no, the lolly stay or you're not getting the show.
Like, no, bitch. The lolly stays. Fucking show.
listen here, you little shit. I work with Netflix. You want this show or not? We're putting in the lollies.
The sweat.
Yeah. And plus, like Trigger Studio is like one of the big animation studios, not just in Japan, but it's like practically around.
And keep in mind, they are comprised of ex-Gynex members.